Hello and welcome back to PlayIPredict.com. This week, delighted to be joined by, you'll probably know the app more than anything, particularly in GAA circles, without doubt. The infamous What's a Score app everybody keeps in touch with the results. I know it's been a lifesaver for me from being away from home, but not many people will know the person and the genius behind it. So I'm delighted to introduce here Paul Flaherty.
Welcome. How's things?
Welcome, firstly. And as I said, a lot of people will know your app, the What's the Score app, but I have to confess, I don't really know a lot about the person and the genius behind it. Speaking to a couple of lads that were on the Galway panel, which they said you're a great crack and a great singer. So I suppose we'll start with the singing stuff. Before your app became viral, your singing has made a few viral. The Luke Kelly impressions are. There's a bit of another talent there to you as well, is there?
I don't know, is it another talent or is it something that when they have a few drinks that they like to make fun of me, a bit of a mockery, and they'll say, let's get this lad to sing a few songs and we'll see what happens. But no, I suppose it took off. In we were playing a football league game in the Aran Islands in 2016. It was the same week as the Galway races, and it's all when you're playing league in Galway, you always want to get Aran Islands away because you know you're going out on the boat and you're going to have a session on the way home. So we got them anyway, and the game was a very entertaining game. We were up like 10 to 15 points at half time, and then they got 3 or 4 goals in the second half, and we only won by 1 or 2 points. But the game was on at 12 o'clock, and the boat wasn't going back until 6. So I think Galway were playing the same day. It was around the Leinster final maybe time or something like that. So we finished up and we're in the pub by 2 o'clock, and so from 2 to 6 we were in the pub anyway, and then we got the boat home, and everyone was a bit happy. So they just made me sing, and that's it. Just since then it kind of took off. That was that time. And then I suppose when I was in Galway in 2017, I don't know, just after a few drinks on the way home on the bus, I used to sing as well. And the one thing I remember is Aidan Hart came up to me after we won the All Ireland, and we're on the bottom of the Hogan stand, and he was like, "You'll go up there now and you'll sing a song." And I said, "No way, am I going up now sing a song like Joe McDonagh or something like that?" But then Davy Burke on the way home in the homecoming made me do it in Ballinasloe. But I was well hoarse from the night before, so yeah, that's kind of my singing career. But I don't like to publicise it as much because I don't know what I'm like, to be honest.
No, there's definitely another talent there, and it was that's the thing that I loved most was the 1980 kind of reenactment, really, the West Awake, the Joe McDonagh, because I know we're particularly biased with our Galway roots, but that speech is probably one of the greatest, definitely acceptance speeches in my mind. Anyways, it ticked every box, and then the little bit of a sing song afterwards, and no doubt, as you said, you got a bit of motivation to reenact it.
I heard Micheál Murthy, he was on a podcast with Des Cahill, and he rated that Joe Connolly's speech, the Joe McDonagh sing song, was the best ever that he's seen in Croke Park, and he's been there for a long time, going to All Ireland football and hurling finals. So he put that as number 1 as well. So it really was a special occasion in 1980, I think.
1980, yeah. People of Galway, we love you. And it had a bit of everything, really. Like I suppose, any non-Galway people, if you mightn't be as high up in your vocabulary, I think most of it's on YouTube there. It's a great listen. But you spoke about that. You spoke about that 17 All Ireland win after, I suppose, a long time, really. I'm not quite sure, would you describe it as a famine? It probably is in Galway circles, maybe not in other counties, but it was a long time for us to win. Must have been so great being involved in that panel, from a playing point of view.
Oh yeah, it was serious. I remember I came in, I played 3 or 4 league games in 2017, and I think like trying to get your position, like the training games were unbelievable. Like it was like 20 minutes first half, 20 minutes second half, and they were hell for leather. Like, and every Thursday evening you go to Kenny Park and you wouldn't get anything easy, like, so. And the B team that we were on, like, we nearly beat the A team sometimes. It was that competitive, and we'd be, it was fierce competitive, but it was great to be involved. Great scenes after the match. I was sitting beside Sir Donlan, and he was nearly in tears after the final whistle blew. Like, he's been there for so many years, so it meant so much to so many people. It was 29 years. I'm not sure was it a famine, but it was like Galway have good tradition of minor All Irelands up through the years and under 21, and maybe we should have one or two more All Irelands in the bank. But yeah, it's good that we got over the line in 2017, and it was a great year for Galway.
Absolutely. And we're biased as well. From I've been supporters as well, but it was a special times. You talked about the I suppose the in depth, how strong that team was. Without going into the game too much, it's just the changes, even the subs that came on were the, I suppose, the winning of that final as well. Really wasn't. It was. Yeah. It must have been. You talked about the A versus B games, but it must have been a great year to be involved with from start to finish. Like a long tight knit group, and then you had the celebrations after as well. You hadn't been long. You didn't have to wait the 29 years. You'd been in the panel the year previous, was it?
I got called up. My first time was with Anthony Cunningham in 2015. I was played Fitzgibbon with LIT in 2015, and he rang me a few days after and said, will you come to Carmore for a training match? And I was on the panel in 2015. We got to the All Ireland that year after replay against Kilkenny. That was very close. We probably left that one maybe behind us as well, but then I was on it in 2017 as well from start to finish. So it was a great year, very competitive, and you make a lot of friends through it. Like, I still talk to a good few of the people that are on the team and the panel there. So we always will have that bond and that medal among us. So it's not only just the matches and the year. Like, that medal kind of brings us all together for years going down the line. So it was fantastic, really.
And I'm right in saying as well, your brother was on the panel at the same time?
Yeah, so Mammy Flaherty was crying, no doubt, seeing the two lads on the sideline. But it was a great kind of family moment that myself and Brian were on the panel. So we used to head off to train together, and we used to try and get on the 26 or on the team as much as we could. But it was a good kind of thing for the family, all right, to have the two of us on it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, everybody, I think every parent dreams about having one son wearing their county colours. To have the two of them at the same time in an All Ireland winning year must have been proud around the kitchen table.
Yeah, well, there's a good few, like, I think Ian Burke, and you have David Burke, and you have the two Manions, and I'm sure there's more, Dahi Burke and Ronan Burke, and there's probably a few others that I can't remember off the top of my head as well. But there was a good band of brothers, and there was a good tightness in the group, and that was kind of led by the leaders on the team. Like, David Burke was very influential, getting the bond in the team right and everything, and other leaders around there. So it was definitely player led, and like Franny Ford, the trainer, and Michael Donoghue were very influential as well throughout the year, and making sure we did all the right things during the year, food and all that. So it was that was the way that kind of went.
I'd imagine it was difficult to be away from the panel then afterwards, was it, from a personal point of view?
Yeah, I remember until 2018, I played a few more league games, and then they just said, they had to cut it to 33 or 34, and you're so used to training every day, or you're going to the gym, eating, talking to lads that, you'd be talking to every week, seeing them every Tuesday, Thursday, collective gym on a Wednesday, and weekends, that it's just all gone. So it was a bit of a change, but it's good to get back to the roots of your club, like where you start out with, because as the kind of times are now that they're putting club championship first ahead of county, you start with your club and you'll end with your club. County is a bonus, so it's good to get back with the club, and you just, if once your time is over with the county, you just have to bring what you've learned from the county scene into your club, and drive your own club forward, and make sure that you're influencing the young lads coming up on the line.
Yeah, and of course you're right in saying as well, you're a dual player as well, so you've extra busy on the club scene.
I give it a go. Let's say I don't know am I a full dual player, but yeah, I play football there for Monavy Abbey and hurling for Abbey Knockmy. So it was a busy year, right? In 2015, we went up to senior in the hurling with Abbey Knockmy, and then in 2016 we won the intermediate football with Monavy Abbey. So then there were 2 good years leading on to the All Ireland. So it was 3 hectic years there in a row where we thought we could win everything, but unfortunately it doesn't last long. So yeah, it was a good 2015, 2016 was very good years for both hurling and football in our parish.
Yeah, no, you definitely packed a lot into those couple of years. I can tell why you might nearly have needed a break afterwards. Just being curious from your own point of view as well, had you a preference to either sport, or did you enjoy both of them, or if you had to pick one?
I obviously, I prefer the hurling now. It's a lot more, it's harder, but like it's a lot more enjoyable when you're, poking the ball over the bar, hopefully, or not poking it wide, or catching a ball, or anything like that. So I've been playing it since I've been younger. Football is great, as it's kind of more of a relief because there's not as much pressure. I don't think on myself. I get to just kind of play football and have a bit more freedom, let's say. But I do enjoy both of them, and like a lot of lads are dual in our parish, so you're playing with the lads that you've been playing with since you've been 8, 9, 10, and that you're going to school with in secondary school. So I don't mind really. I don't really have a preference. I just love playing. Just love playing both of
Of
them.
course, and you look at the current setup as well. Dahi Burke, what he's done with both codes has been absolutely phenomenal. To probably be one of the best fullbacks on the hurling game, and being such an absolute stalwart of that multi All Ireland winning Corofin football team as well. Like I don't know how the guy gets gets a break at all. He seems to be on the go non-stop.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know when he gets. Maybe in his sleep he might get an all break, but yeah, he's on the go the whole time. Very demanding, but he doesn't do much PR, so maybe that's kind of where he hides out on that front. But I know he's a horse for man, and I remember actually in Cancun. Me and him were staying in the same room after won the All Ireland, but like kind of I don't know what to say, just the strength of the man that like we went out like most nights, and every night or every morning he'd wake me up around 8:30, 9 o'clock and goes, "Come on, Flair, we're going to the gym." And I'm like, "Oh jeez, we're on holidays in Cancun and it's 30 degrees outside," and he's like, come up," and like he just doesn't matter what size the weight is, he doesn't look at the number on the kg, he'll just lift it above his head or whatever he has to do with it, So yeah, he puts in the hard work in the background which no one sees. So and he gets his just reward on the pitch.
Yeah, no, an absolutely incredible talent, and I suppose from there, yeah, like you've you've achieved the stuff that a lot of people dream of, winning All Ireland's, singing songs on the way home as well, and everything that goes with it. But I suppose most people are probably came to know you the last couple of years with the success of your app, the What's the Score app. I've heard the story before of how you came to have that eureka moment, and I'll let you tell her how did. So you were still playing quite heavily at this point as well, weren't you? When I suppose we'll start. How did the idea of the app come from people that mightn't have heard your story?
Yeah, well, I was always thinking about it for a while because let's say since I left secondary school, I've been working with Mulholland Bookmakers there in Athenry and kind of or more, but I was always working there, and when I was working in Athenry, the people used to come down from Kinney Park and they'd be like, "Oh, Crowell, after winning there, pay me out," and I'm like, "I don't have a live feed here, I don't have anything, I can't," and they wouldn't really like that answer. They want their money to go for a few pints or whatever they want to do. So I was kind of thinking like there has to be some way, shape, or form. But then in 2018, we had training at 7 o'clock, and in our group, Milltown were playing my Cullen on the same day at 5, and it was actually on in Athenry, but me and another lad, we were in the car on one way, and we were like, we didn't really like the match between Milltown and Cullen. Whoever won decided whether we were in the championship or out of the championship. So if Moycullen won, we were out. And if Milltown won, we were still in. So we said, like, if Milltown win, there's no point of us going to train at 7 o'clock because we had other plans. So me and my friend were sitting in the village in one of it, and we were looking through Facebook, Twitter, and all kind of other social media outlets, and there was nothing. And that was the euphoria moment for me when I said, there's surely something that can be done here. So that's when I looked into market research, and I came up with the idea of what's the score. So that was kind of the euphoria moment for me.
Well, they say what necessity is the mother of all invention, and anything to get out of a training session.
Yeah, well, actually, Milltown won then, so we found out around 6:30. So then we had to go train at 7 o'clock. So we didn't get out of it at the end, but we had to play Moycullen then we had to play them, and we actually drew, I think it was 10-all in Pearse Stadium, but the draw wasn't good enough on points difference or goal difference or something. So we just lost out on scoring. So it's a bad way to get it to be eliminated from the championship, but that was 2018 or 2019. I think it was last year, actually. Sorry, 2019. Yeah.
Very good. Well, it's funny, at the time you were mad to get out of training. The way things are, well, I know it's slowly eased back up the last week or so with the restrictions being lifted, but it's almost funny, ironic in a way. You were doing so much to get out of training back then, and a couple of weeks ago you were just absolutely dying to go training. It's funny how the mindset changed given the circumstances, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a good few people now. We in our training there. In football now, I think we've over 30 plus. There's a few lads coming out of the woodwork that we haven't seen in a while, So it's great. People are mad to get out and play a bit of hurling and football. So it's mighty, for just the whole morale. I think for everyone to be back playing again. We'd a match there on Wednesday night, a challenge match, and you could just see it's nice to be back, kind of throwing a few shoulders and maybe kicking the ball over the bar and playing again. It was just kind of depressing enough, kind of sitting at home and not being able to train and quarantine. It might have suited some people for a while, but they were mad to get back on the pitch. So it's great that the GAA now will be back in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. So it'll be all guns blazing.
Yeah, well, there's nothing like a bit of cabin fever to get your appetite or your grow back for the sport again. And I think we will see that a more general conversation. I think there's a lot of people, particularly now that there's kind of a realistic and a tangible end date for the championship as well. It's not like you're going to be training all year and you're going to have a couple of matches, then a big break, and then a couple of matches again. I think people, as you said, will probably come out of the woodwork a bit more now that they know we can train and have a couple of games for a couple of months.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think a lot of people might have been turned away, club people, that you have to start training in January and then you might have 1 to 2 games in April and then you're back then again in August and you might only have 2 games. And you're gone again. So I think when you just have this kind of raft of maybe 6 weeks to 2 months, I think it's the way forward. I think every county and every club should be going for it, because no one wants to play 1 or 2 games in April and take a big break and then back again, because it's 2 seasons in one basically. So I think this is the way forward. I think it is bringing a lot of people back that mightn't want to have done loads of running in January, February. There's no hard slog. You're just you're playing challenge matches now in 2 or 3 weeks and you're into championship. And I think it's definitely the way forward. So I think it's going to be very interesting. Everyone's kind of on a level playing field. There's no you can't try out a lot of tactics with challenge matches and players and stuff. You just got to, it's backs against the wall. You just got to hurl your own kind of area and hope for the best, So
yeah, and we've even the challenge games have kind of dribbed back the last week or so. We've seen a lot of them, I think, from what I've seen, are kind of 3 20-minute periods as well, and given a lot of guys a lot of opportunity to play as well. So there is a bit of experimentation around, and I can't help think back the Ray Silkin famous quote from A Year Till Sunday: "Winter training is a pain in the ass." And you're right, though, isn't it? Though it's almost like go back to the roots, where you just go out, do a bit of training, have a couple of play a lot of games, and go home afterwards, or whatever your things are. I want to kind of push a bit more on the I suppose the way you develop the app. So you obviously you had the idea after wanting you wanted my own to Milltown to win, was it?
We wanted we wanted Milltown to win, and they did. And so
very
they
good.
were still in the championship then.
So I'm glad to a bit of scan route there involved in it. But so obviously you had the great idea, and from there, where did you take it from there? Did you stew on it for much more? Because it's interesting to hear your. I said one thing I didn't get to hear you discuss before, the fact that from your bookmaking routes as well. People into the Scor and you couldn't give out, or you couldn't cash in the slips, and people, the frustration that led. So you obviously had that idea stewing a bit in your head as well. It came to life when you wanted to avoid training. but where did
Anthony to get out training?
What happened next on that journey? Did you think about it for a bit more, or when did you do something tangible out of it? Because obviously there's a big idea, a big difference between having the idea and then kind of doing something about it, bringing it to life, because it was a big challenge.
Yeah, for sure. When I kind of got that euphoria, I was kind of talking to my friends about it, and then about a week later, I just heard on the radio that on Galway FM that this new Galway West End app is after coming out, and I think Lisa Regan was talking about it, and so the app agency left their number on the message or whatever. So I just decided to give them an email and see would they meet up and have a chat with me. So I met Dara. He was the operations manager, and I met him in O'Connell's, and I met him I think it was 5 o'clock, because I was working in Ulster Bank at the time, and I just met him after we shut the doors, and I just told him my idea, just talked for about 2 hours, and he goes, we'll, like, they're based in Galway, but their developers are out in Spain, so they just said, we'll have a discussion. And he came back to me then and said, that's no problem, we can do that. And it just kind of took off from there. So I just kind of met them once a week, every week, like I forget, on a Wednesday or something after I finished in the bank. And I just meet them and talk for 2 hours and kept talking and talking. And then it just kind of snowballed from there, and I just kind of went for it then, because they were showing me the designs and showing me you can do this, you can do that, and I was like, this is great, So I said I can't really turn my back on it now. So I just kind of said, you might as well go for it. I'll regret if I didn't go for it, So just kind of put the head down, worked hard, and we went live then in April 2019. It was the second round of the Hurling Championship, so we got every game covered, and we just we did a few tests, but we didn't actually do like there's nothing like, you can do as many tests as you want, but once you put it out in the public, like reality, that's reality. So there was a few glitches the first weekend, because we didn't expect kind of the volume. We got over 3,500 downloads on the first weekend, which was crazy, but it's just that's the power of social media. It just kind of spreads quickly, so it was fantastic. And then we just kind of kept building up during the summer, and our real peak season was August, September, October last year, when the club championship season was on. That's when we found that the rates went sky high and the downloads kept going up and up and up. So we're kind of expecting the same again now in 2 or 3 weeks' time. So hopefully the same clubs that were with us will be on board again, and we can go all guns blazing.
I'm fascinated to delve a bit deeper into the whole kind of you met the app, because I suppose the journey with it, because I'm sure you're flying forward there into the success of it. I'm sure there was a lot of late nights, early mornings, a lot of slog put in to get from the idea to getting it into reality. Like, was it the idea in your head initially? Was that a million miles away from what you've ended up with? Obviously, it's a product, you'll probably tweak it as you go along continuously. Like everything's moving, but that whole journey, like, obviously I can't imagine it was a cheap investment either. Like you've obviously had to put a lot of sacrifice yourself into it.
I was lucky enough that they gave me a lot of leeway now, the app agency, and that when I backed it myself, and then I got a loan, but like most of it, then I went on a program for New Frontiers, which is backed by Enterprise Ireland, and it's 6 months, so they fund you there for 15,000. So it was fantastic, and they helped my business for 6 months. So they went through like a business plan, strategy, all different bits and pieces that's got to do with a business. So that was a fantastic resource, and a good sponsor as well that has been on board is Supermax and Gobo. So they've been extremely helpful towards me in my journey. Kind of going back to maybe I skipped on a bit. Yeah, at the start, like before April when we did go live, it was stressful enough. I'm looking at this and I'm wondering, are clubs even going to use it? What am I at? But you have moments where you're scared and you're frightened, but you just got to get over that, and you just got to just remind yourself why you're doing it, the values it is for the club, the values it is for the people like yourself that are up in Dublin. I've got loads of emails from people that are abroad and that they love it. Like they can just keep up to date, like with clubs around them, friends that might be in different counties and stuff like that. So it was tough at the start, and it's still going to be tough. The product is never going to be finished. There's always going to be bits and pieces that I want to do to make it better, or suggestions will come in from people I know, or emails and stuff like that. So the product is never going to be finished. I'm going to try and keep progressing it as much as I can, and making sure it goes to the number one GAA if possible. So
very good. Yeah, no, I have to say, I think we're speaking off here. I personally find it a lifesaver. I live in Dublin, from Milltown originally, so being away from it, and the coverage, it's understandable. They can't be wall-to-wall club coverage of club games. There just isn't enough space in the medium at the moment. But the app has allowed me to keep in touch with live updates on games, and even similar scenario last year as well. Milltown were trying to avoid relegation, and we were all huddled around a phone in the student stadium there in the behind the town end, keeping up to date in other matches, working out all the permutations, and such and such are point up there, point down. So I did see the real life value, and so many people come up to you and what's that app, and it's amazing how it's kind of snowballed really in the GAA community. Yeah. Did you find? Obviously, I guess your playing background was a benefit as well when you were first approaching because you primarily, like, with that the local club championship in Galway first. That was one of your big, I suppose, not pilot, but it's where you kind of brought the app to life, really, wasn't it? You're probably your playing background probably helped a good bit there as well. Did it in kind of that foot in the door, that first conversation? Because I imagine it must have been difficult. Like, here you have this app which you've put blood, sweat and tears into, it does a job, the benefits of it, but you're trying to sell that to GAA committees without being disrespectful. Some of them, there's a lot of mindsets that are stuck one way over the years. Was that a challenge at the start then as well, to try and get that foot in the door, if we want to call it?
Yeah, it was a challenge at the start, and it's still a challenge that's still ongoing. I'm on my own club committee here in Abbeylochmoy, with the hurling. So we're always talking about lotto and fundraising and all that kind of stuff. So what's the score wouldn't be top priority in them conversations. But at the start, I got PROs and friends, and definitely Galway was kind of the pilot, you would say that, to kind of get a good foothold in one county. Then it kind of snowballed in. It was more that people were getting on to me, so I got a few clubs in Mayo and a few clubs in Clare and Offaly, and they were the kind of four. But people would see it on Twitter, and people would see it, and they were kind of saying, "Oh, I seen Ballintober's game was on. How was that game on? How did you get that?" And then I'd explain it to them, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, sure, we'll do that as well." So it's amazing when something gets traction that it draws
organically
people in.
So it grows.
Yeah. So it was like a lot of my business has been word of mouth. It's mainly like if I know someone was on holidays in Spain and they went back to their club. Let's say they met someone, I'm not sure where it was. We'll say
Murphy's Irish Bar.
yeah, Salou, yeah, somewhere like that. Yeah. So they met there and they were saying, "Oh, how are we getting that?" And they were saying, "Oh, obviously our club ran wants to score," and he went back and got them to use it. So it's very easy to use. I know, let's say from doing research, that a lot of PROs and club officials would use Twitter, so they'd kind of update to that. So with our back end, you can actually kill two birds with one stone. So you can update what's the score and you can update Twitter at the same time. So we're not taking that functionality away from them, and it is quicker with our system. So it's only a click of a button to update it. So you kind of learn as you go along the way. You always have to be kind of going with the times as well. You can't, if you sit and think you've made it, you're going nowhere. So you always have to be kind of thinking and trying to be one step ahead. But Galway was my foothold, but the real kind of way that it went around was just word of mouth. Word of mouth has been unreal for me. So that's kind of the way we kind of gain traction and the whole lot of that.
And I suppose for clubs out there that mightn't be involved currently at the moment, or interested in, just talk. I'm curious as well, the process of how it works from A to B. So your club is playing in a local championship game. Say, how does the process work? I think you've 2 apps, don't you, for it?
Yep. So let's say like Silver Mines, let's say this week, where they just messaged me on Twitter as I put something up on my own social media, and they said, "How do we get signed up?" Because they've got North Tipperary Minor B Championship in 2 weeks' time. So I said, "Yeah, that's no problem." I just gave them login details to Pitchside. So Pitchside is the app for the PROs and the club officials. So we give them login details for there, and the match is already there, pre-populated from on our side. So he'll just go in there on 5 minutes before the match, 10 minutes before the match, and he'll just click start when the ball is thrown in, and then it's just score for score. So there's really nothing to it. So it's as easy as that. All the club has to do is just give me an email and give me their number, and I'll set up them with login details for Pitchside, and the rest is easy. So there's nothing much to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's going to be useful because while the games are pretty much tangible, they're within. We can feel them coming back. Championships and leagues will be back in, I suppose, a couple of weeks. Really, it's getting closer and closer, but we still don't know. Obviously, the coronavirus isn't going away. You see some talks, you see waves of it kind of recurring in countries elsewhere. We don't know how social distance is going to implement, how it's going to affect things. So we're not going to be in a situation where there's everybody that wants to go to a game won't be able to now. So it's a perfect opportunity, really, isn't it, to keep in touch while you're not there. And it sounds like it's such an easy process as well. Literally one guy on the PRO or some allocated member of staff from the club just be on the sideline and flick away every score. That's as easy as that, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Like if you're going to a match, all you have to do is just give me Jonathan Higgins your phone number and your email address, and I'll give you login details, and that's it. Just off we go, and it's as easy. All you do is just update the game. So like it's very simple. We'll accommodate the person as much as we can if they have any questions, or we have tutorial videos as well that we can show them. So we can explain it, no problem to them.
Very good. So the first, fast forward a bit then, or rewind even, your first kind of second round of that Galway Championship, which would be like always a strong sporting county, so people have a lot of interest in the championship there. You got a huge demand that day out. Did that surprise you or took you kind of off guard, the level of interest in it straight away?
It took me off guard, but as a GAA, like I'm coming as a supporter as well. You know, I'm a huge GAA enthusiastic, and I'd be very interested in lots of games, not even in Galway, but just even around Ireland. So I was blown away, but I kind of know that there is a demand for this app, because if I asked you to give me a live feed on any club game, it would have to be on RT Live or Sport TG Car, as they do great coverage on the kind of club scene. but there's nothing else really out there for the club. And it's our slogan on our my main slogan, like, for What's the Score, is grassroots results for grassroots supporters. It's the games that matter so much to people, like that Milltown and Mycullen game. Let's say, I'll go back to that. It mattered so much to us. Not take away the train of it. It mattered so much to our kind of group of players, as we've been training since January, February, and that there's no real platform for us to kind of maybe look back on in a few years and say, Jesus, who do we play? And then we can see, we threw that game away, or that we probably should have won that game, or we had a great victory that day if we see someone scoring a late goal or a late point. So there's no real archives out there. If I had to ask you, like, when you were playing, like, do you have any, like, archive, or is there anywhere where you can go to see how your results were, anything like that?
My mother has a cutout from the paper when we won the county title on the living room back home. That's about it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah.
Couple of cuts out, maybe a couple of cutouts from the Tume World, and that's about it. No, but you're right, and I know even from working in media, and particularly when you work on Irish sports and Gaelic sport, there just isn't a live platform there. They have it for the League of Ireland, where you can get live updates of games, but you just don't have that. And it's even across the board, really, and the intercounty setup as well, particularly at the early starts of the campaign, say, where there's multiple games happening on it. I know it is a challenge. You could find yourself checking Twitter, checking radio stations. There might be one game on TV, there might be another game on another local station, and there's the joy of the app is it just brings it all there to one spot. How have you when you've come, how have you, I suppose, tweaked the product? I know even from, I have to confess, I didn't really, with the lockdown, I didn't look at it a while, and I came back and looked at it and noticed you've made a good few changes recently as well. That must be something that you're always, I suppose, taking feedback, looking at a little, I suppose, kinks in the armor as you go through. You're never going to be fully happy, but what's been the biggest change really since you launched it? We call it that pilot, that second round of the Galway Championship to where we are now. It's been a bumpy, probably a few winds in the road, is there?
That's for sure. Like, I remember the first day that I brought it out, some lad messaged me, and he's from our local parish here, and he gave me like a page of stuff that, like, you don't have this, you don't have this, you don't have this, and I was like, I'm only after coming out with this product. But I remember we got a good few talks as I kind of go back to the New Frontiers. We got a good few talks from mentors, and they kind of said, if you're not embarrassed by your MVP, you don't have a good product. You'll never have the right product when you start, and you'll always be changing. So recently, during the lockdown, I kind of said, okay, this is the time to reflect on the business, have a look at what's going well, what didn't go well, and just try and obviously bring what isn't good, bring it up to standard, and what's good, try and bring on a small bit more. So I got Survey Monkeys done, kind of, and I asked the PROs or the club officials that use it, what can we make it better? We got a good few suggestions, and for the users as well. So we changed the layout of the app, so the results our customers were saying it was kind of hard to get. So now we put on the homepage that if you update the app, that the results section is on the bottom left, and you will see the most frequent results at the top of the screen. So we're hoping that will hopefully get the customers, that make them a bit more happy, that they don't have to be searching through pages and pages through the app, and also that there's a favorite section there. So there's favorites on the top left. So let's say if you click Corofin as your favorite, or one of the Abbey, that if you select them as your favorites, there's a favorites tab beside the results on the home screen as well. So just click into that, and it'll just bring up, you won't see any of the other games, you'll just see your favorites, results, and the fixtures that are coming up. So we want to listen to our customers, try and make them as happy as we can. We're working on the back end now we're developing a new kind of kind of a new pitch side. Like we still have the original pitch side there, but we want to put in a good few features into the back end, just so the PROs and club officials, we've got word back just a few things to make it easier for them. So we're always listening to our customers, and we always want to strive to make the product better and better and better. But as I said, the product is never finished. So we'll always just try and keep improving and improving as much as we can.
And I suppose in effect really going to be thrown in the deep end now again when the club scene hits back fully. There's people going to be starved of sport and action. There's going to be so much attention to it. You must be looking forward to that challenge as well that's going to bring.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge. As like, let's say if you had, I'm not sure if this is a good example, but if you're in a pub and you're after buying a new cash register, like, you're not really sure of all the buttons and the whole lot. So it's kind of, the app has got a good few functionality updates, so we're kind of hoping that it'll do its job, you know. So, but yeah, it's going to be exciting. There's always challenges when you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business. So it's all about learning what maybe the problem is or the mistake, and you just gotta move with it. You gotta move quick and solve it fast. So it's kind of, you've got to get that standard and you've got to keep it. It kind of brings me back to my GAA kind of mentality. Helps me a lot that, you know, if there's a problem, if a goal is after going in, or the opposition team is after getting 3 or 4 points in a row, you need to think fast on your feet. You're not going to keep booking the ball to the same person that's getting the scores. So you've got to act fast, and you've got to kind of grind your teeth and go hard at it. So yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to the action coming back, and just hopefully our users and customers are going to be happy with the product. So.
Well, absolutely. No, it's been a lifesaver the last couple of years, I have to say. I suppose how we as sports fans, how we consume our content and our viewing of games has changed really a lot the last couple of years. You know, even just take the Premier League. I'll always kind of use an example. It's one of the bigger worldwide sports. You know, people, the old school television mentality is probably changing slightly. You know, the likes of Amazon Prime coming on board. You have Sky Go. You can watch it on ground. Some people will watch online then or whatever. But so the process of viewing is changing. How do you see your app kind of developing in the next couple of years? Is there any? I think I read before in one of your interviews that you would like to see a situation where you could stream games on your app. Is that something, or what other ideas that are there in the back of the head without giving too much away that you would like to bring forward, or where's the end goal?
I've a lot of ideas in the back of my head, and I'm not sure they're supposed to go into the public. But yeah, like I've seen now recently that even with, let's say, live score, like it's phenomenal for the soccer, because it's very global. But like that they are an official partner with La Liga, and they're actually streaming. I've seen there was a game like Milan were playing there last week, and they had that streaming there. So it is definitely something that I have been thinking about. But streaming is it's difficult because there's a lot of rights and there's a lot of things you have to be. You could get honed in. You could be in court before you stream one game, you know. So you've got to be careful on that side of things. There is a lot of ideas. I know we're looking into team sheets and stuff like that for the app. So let's say, you know, if Milltown are playing Mike Cullen, that we can see maybe who's playing, and like stats are huge. Everyone wants stats, so you could have, like, you know, the top scorer of the Galway Senior Football Championship, because we should have that data, and you know, red cards, and maybe what time you know, teams are scoring more in the second half than they are in the first half and stuff like that. So there's loads that we can do. You could partner up with, you know, some sports media company, and you could work together in unison. So there's a lot of opportunities there. And like one thing that I love to kind of progress is the rugby side and the soccer side, and even niche sports like you know, tennis or something like that. That there's no real platform for that, because I know Monavea Rugby, like, we have a rugby club here and it's hard. I know the lads be playing there on a Saturday or Sunday up in Castlebar or Ballina or Athlone, and it's awful hard to find how they're doing, or I wouldn't even know where they are in the league. So there's definitely opportunity there for other sports and things to do. So yeah, I have a lot in the back of my mind.
Busy times ahead, put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I suppose to bring it back to GAA circles now as well. I think you appear to have almost the whole country covered. That's probably over exaggeration. Is it? How are you finding in terms of approaching people and people taking on the product? Really, are you almost there where you want to be, or do you still have some challenges ahead?
Oh yeah, no, I have lots of challenges ahead. As I said, never a finished product, and it's never going to be what I want it to be. But it's like the West of Ireland has been very good to me. Like Galway, Mayo, Clare, Limerick. It's been very good. Trying to get nationwide is definitely the next kind of goal that I have. Hopefully, like as I said, it's very easy to set a team up or anything like that. So I'm just kind of hoping that word of mouth again will prevail, and maybe a few news articles or a few businesses push it on their end, and we just gain traction, because that will really get me going. So that's the plan, and I just try and keep my customers that I had last year, and whatever more games and teams I want to come on board, I'm welcome to. But I don't want to forget about the people that were with me last year, So that's the plan anyway.
Perfect. We'll probably wrap it up now in a couple of minutes. It's been a fascinating story. I have to say, hearing a bit more behind that journey as well, because everybody sees the. I was about to call it the finished product. They see the working product. We'll be political and we'll name it that. But and personally, you've benefited so much from it. If clubs out there want to that might see this and are curious about it, what's the best way to just get in touch with yourself on social media, guys? We'll share some of your details here as well. What's the next?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thanks very much. The best way to get us is what's the score, SCOR at gmail.com, or Paul at what'sthescore.ie. You can contact us here at 087 240 2248, or you can look at our website there and get more information and request a demo. So or you can message us. We're on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. So we're kind of very active on them. So you can get us there, and we'll sign you up, no problem at all.
Perfect. Well, let's hope loads more will take it on board in the next couple of weeks. It's a brilliant product, I have to say. I repeat, I've used it personally. I know people as well that are abroad as well. A couple of mates, down under the usual story. It's a great link back home, particularly in these. I hate the cliche of it, but it is challenging times for a lot of people. The world is. We also say it used to be kind of small and being so tight, and it was so easy to get around. It's been more challenging the last couple of months in particular, but particularly now with the sport coming back and some reality, and to keep in touch, it's been brilliant. It's been brilliant. I know. I repeat, I personally haven't really enjoyed it, and loads more others have. So look, Paul, we wish you every success. We'll share out the links. Any clubs out there that haven't, go do it. Your supporters will. It makes your life so much easier, put it that way. And no doubt we'll see each other soon. Take it handy, and we'll chat to you soon.
Thanks very much for having me on, and best of luck now up in Dublin.